It's already that time of the year. Xbox is putting on their annual summer showcase where they show off what's coming next to the platform. This year's show in particular feels like it has a chance to be a pretty good one, as Xbox has many first-party studios and third-party partners that could be ready to showcase what they're building. We already know that big hitter games like Starfield and Forza Motorsport will be there, but with the combined Xbox Games Showcase and Starfield Direct being roughly 2 hours long, there's a lot of time to show other games. We've also gotten tweets from Aaron Greenberg confirming that everything shown from the first party will either be in-engine, in-game, or in-game with some cutscenes. This, thankfully, means that we won't be getting full CGI-only trailers from Xbox, leaving us even more excited. The team at XboxEra has come together to compile what we believe could be shown on June 11. As usual, we won't get everything right, or maybe even most things, and there are sure to be surprises we couldn't possibly predict. We've divided this video into 4 clear parts, going from most likely / confirmed games to Hail Mary / who the heck knows like predictions. But all that being said, let's dive into our predictions for Xbox's 2023 showcase. Games we know. We'll start the video off with games that we know for sure are going to be there, starting with Starfield. No matter what is shown at Xbox's conference, Starfield is unlikely to be dethroned as the biggest game at the event. Bethesda and more recently Xbox fans have waited a long time for the next massive single-player game from Bethesda Game Studios. Led by Todd Howard, Starfield is the first new IP from the studio in over 25 years, the biggest Xbox exclusive in over a decade, and the words of Phil Spencer, one of the most anticipated games in Xbox history. We expect an in-depth look at Starfield, answering many questions fans still have of the game. A Todd Howard deep dive presentation is always exciting to watch, and we expect the Starfield Direct to be no exception. Forza Motorsport. Turn 10 has already confirmed that Forza Motorsport will make an appearance at Xbox's showcase on June 11th, with a closer look at the game's campaign a few days later during their Forza monthly stream. We aren't expecting too much from this game at the showcase, at most a sizzle reel showing the graphical spectacle, and hopefully a release date. Game Pass Day 1 titles. One of the best things about Xbox's annual summer showcase is all of the third-party titles that are announced as Day 1 Game Pass releases. We know the same will happen this time around, ranging from smaller indie titles to bigger budget games. Maybe we'll see release dates for previously shown games like Cocoon or Flintlock, but what we know for certain is that we'll hear / see Day 1 on Game Pass quite a bit. Games we expect. This section is for games we think have a pretty high chance of being there but aren't 100% fully officially confirmed. Again, going down in order from most to least likely. Avowed. Avowed is a game that was announced many years ago and has gone silent since. This next open-world RPG from Obsidian has been in development for many years, and fans have been waiting to see the game's official unveiling. There is strong reason to believe that this upcoming Xbox showcase will be the place where Avowed finally gets this long-awaited debut. Looking at the official key art for the Xbox Games Showcase, the Xbox logo is enveloped in a glowing green light. This green light in the logo is very similar to the green shown in the Avowed announcement trailer. This could maybe have been passed off as a coincidence, but Xbox's recent game showcases all theme their logos around the big games that were shown during the event, Halo and Starfield being the most recent examples. And it makes sense considering Avowed may be the game that gets the most attention during the showcase. After nearly 3 years since the announcement, now is the time for Obsidian to let us peek behind the curtain on their next role-playing game. Halo. Halo, a game that for many is synonymous with Xbox, which means surely it'll have some kind of presence at the show, right? We think so, but not in a particularly big or very exciting way. Halo Infinite has found a steady audience over the past few months, with the game neither performing particularly well or particularly bad on Xbox's charts. For better or worse, it's hit a stable population, and most of the updates to it will be the usual live service affair. What this means for the showcase is that we fully expect Season 4 of Halo Infinite to have a small trailer, similar to past trailers for Sea of Thieves, Fallout 76, etc. We expect the trailer to be well edited and quite entertaining, if their last few trailers are any inclination, but for anyone expecting bigger Halo news, like the long-rumored Battle Royale or Firefight mode, we don't think those are likely to appear. Not yet, anyway. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2 was the first Xbox Series XS first-party game that was ever announced all the way back in December of 2019. And since then, Xbox fans have been eager to lay their hands on Ninja Theory's follow-up to the first Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. We've already seen gameplay from Hellblade 2 back in 2021, but what was shown was not much more than an interactive cutscene. It feels like it's time to get a proper deep dive into the gameplay, as well as a long-awaited release date. Some speculation has pegged this game as a surprise end of 2023 title, but we'll be happy if we see the game release sometime within the next year or so. Live service updates. While some fans may be tired of the annual updates for Xbox's many live service games, we fully expect titles like Fallout 76, Elder Scrolls Online, Sea of Thieves, and others to have a presence at the show. We expect new content updates from at least these 3 games with possible updates on player milestones. Hi-Fi Rush DLC. Hi-Fi Rush was a surprise hit for Xbox earlier this year, and we think there's a pretty good chance we'll get an announcement of new DLC for the game at the showcase. John Johannes, who led development on the game, has been not so subtly teasing the existence of DLC for Hi-Fi Rush and it being present in some way at the showcase. This feels like a no-brainer announcement, and we welcome anything new from this IP. Southeast Asian presence. Last year's Xbox Showcase had an entire segment dedicated towards Japanese titles releasing. Wo Long, Personas 3, 4, and 5, and then the Kojima partnership were all shown back to back. We think we'll see something similar this year, with maybe an even larger focus on Japanese and East Asian games. We expect a surefire presentation from Bandai Namco, who is no stranger to Xbox's showcases. Possible candidates also include Sega and Koei Tecmo, who have announced projects and Game Pass inclusions on Xbox's stage many times before. While not quite guaranteed, don't be too surprised to see a PC or mobile-centric developer take the stage too, as there's quite a bit of movement in these spaces to branch out to console platforms in recent times. If you want some more detail on potential Eurasian titles making an appearance, be sure to check out the article in the description that dives into this with more depth. Before we move on, we have to mention a bit of a wild card, and honestly it belongs in the last section of this piece. There have been rumblings of a potential Persona 6 reveal on the Xbox floor. This wouldn't exactly be the first time they've revealed a highly anticipated sequel to a long-running franchise, but all we have for this are rumors and conjecture, so don't go in expecting it. Which leads us nicely into our next section. Games we hope. These are games that wouldn't exactly surprise us by appearing, but we're also not necessarily expecting them to show up, hence, hope. Fable. Will this finally be the year? The year that we see how Playground Games has managed to adapt this beloved Xbox series into the modern age? 2020's teaser trailer announcement for the game gave a small glimpse into the tone and world that Playground was aiming to build. The trailer also gave some confidence that this acclaimed studio at the very least understood the magic and charm that made Fable one of the most unique role-playing series of the mid-2000s. Since the game's announcement nearly 3 years ago, we've heard virtually nothing about it, other than the occasional passing mention of the game's continued development from Xbox executives. Fable is included amongst the mystical grouping of games announced during the 2020 showcase that have gone MIA. There really isn't any way to know if Fable will be at the showcase or if Playground needs a bit more time. Some believe that Xbox's recent social media posts may be teasing Fable's appearance, but again, there's no way to definitively say if the game will really be there or not. We hope to at least see something in-engine, or perhaps a developer update assuring us that the game is shaping up nicely. We don't expect to be able to get our hands on Fable anytime in the near future, so any update at all would be a welcome surprise. Project Cobalt. We know that Project Cobalt is inXile's next game, and rumors suggest this game will be more ambitious than anything the story developer has ever created. We don't really know much, but it has been suggested that they are making a first-person action RPG with steampunk elements. And at one time, it may have been internally targeting a 2023 release date, but that seems highly unlikely now as this game is still completely shrouded in mystery. If Project Cobalt does make an appearance at the upcoming Xbox Showcase, we expect it to be a small, in-engine teaser that shows a glimpse of the world. Maybe we get lucky and they're ready to show a small section of gameplay. After all, Microsoft executives and developers working on the game have spoken glowingly about the progress in recent years. But of course, it's also just as likely that Project Cobalt doesn't show up at all and we have to wait even longer. Like many other Xbox first-party projects, it's difficult to pinpoint exactly when inXile will be ready to unveil it for the first time. Will 2023 be the year? Well, we sure hope so. Gears of War. Is it time for more Gears? Some Xbox fans may be a little tired of the series, but it has served as a staple of Xbox's first party for nearly 20 years. We don't expect Gears 6 in the near future, as the Coalition has moved to Unreal Engine 5 and is taking their time to make sure the next entry can fully take advantage of the technology. They've also already released multiple Unreal Engine 5 demos showcasing their expertise of the engine, including their assistance on The Matrix Awakening. If Gears 6 can look anything like what they've already shown, Xbox fans are in for a visual spectacle once again. Outside of Gears 6, there have been rumors of a Gears Collection, a group of games that would include at least the first 3 titles remastered on Unreal Engine 5. If the collection rumors are true, we'd expect it to be released at least 1 year prior to Gears 6. So, could we see it this year then? Again, hard to pinpoint. Project Midnight. Compulsion Games was acquired shortly before they released their last game, We Happy Few, and after releasing subsequent DLC for the game, the studio has been incredibly quiet about what's coming next. Thanks to more leaks by our friend Jess Gordon, we know the team is working on a game with the codename Midnight, and is supposedly a third-person action game set in the deep American South that has a strong Southern Gothic aesthetic. Compulsion has always struck us as a developer with a lot of talent and ambition, but lacked the budget and scope pre-Microsoft acquisition. Whatever this Project Midnight game ends up being, it'll be the studio's first full game under Microsoft, and we're hopeful to see a glimpse of what the studio has been building at this upcoming showcase. Games that would surprise us. And finally, our last section to close the video off are games that we really don't expect to see. We'll be surprised if anything from here on shows up, but hey, it's not a predictions video without some more wilder guesses, right? More Xbox first party. We know so much about what Xbox's first party studios are working on, with a mix of announced, rumored, and leaked games making a lineup of dozens of titles still yet to be released. Games like Perfect Dark, State of Decay 3, Indiana Jones, Everwild, and more are all known quantities, but it's unclear when they'll actually release. We could reasonably make a case for any of these games and many others not listed to make an appearance at the showcase, but we wouldn't feel confident doing so. And such, much of Xbox's first party has to go under this category. With that being said, let's go into a little more detail on a highly anticipated one. Everwild. Rare's next game is a classic example of a game that was shown way too early. Originally announced all the way back in 2019, we haven't seen anything from Everwild for nearly 3 years, and still don't know what the game is. Reports have suggested that the team has gone back to the drawing board on the game's core design, and that the title is still at least a few years away from releasing. Out of all of Xbox's first party lineup, Everwild strikes us as one of the top choices for games that has a chance to really be special. Rare themselves are special, showing their creativity with games like Sea of Thieves. The little we have seen of Everwild tells us that they haven't lost that either, showcasing one of the more stunning art styles we've ever seen. Everwild showing up at the showcase would be a true surprise, a Hail Mary of sorts. But after so many years of silence, it's at least plausible that the game makes its grand return in this upcoming showcase. Probably. Maybe. Who knows? Banjo-Kazooie. Speaking of Hail Marys, what better prediction to end this video off with than Banjo-Kazooie? I know, we predict this every year, but knowing our luck, the one year we don't is the year it happens. With that being said, not a single person, other than those potentially making the game, of course, know for certain if this beloved icon is or isn't making a return. Is this finally the year the famous duo graces us with their presence again? Probably not. But hey, it's worth a shot, right? And that's it for us this year. Do you agree with our predictions? Disagree? Do you have others of your own? Let us know in the comments or forums. Also, be sure to keep an eye out for our Showcase Predictions podcast this Saturday, a day before the show. If you're looking for a fun, passionate, and positive community to watch the show with, look no further than our official XboxEra Discord. The links to this and the forums are in the description below. And of course, if you really want to support us, check out the Patreon link below. Every little bit helps. After so many months of waiting, it's hard to believe that we're only a few days away. Hype thrusters are fully activated.